introduce our next session speakers to you. So we have Anuj with us back, and he would be interviewing the man whom we've been, trying to get from the past 5 editions to hear the journey of a self-made man. Well, Anuj is the perfect one to interview our guest as he's the most trusted advisor to developers, occupiers, investors, and the government. Thanks, Anuj, and welcome. Very pleased to have Mr. Jitu Virwani with us, the Chairman and Managing Director, Embassy Group. Jitu, are you there? Hi, Jitu.
Hi, how are you? I heard that 5-year story. Yeah?
Yes. Well, I got to 9 years back, and now I'm meeting you after 9 years. And from the past 5 editions, I've been trying. So thank you so much. You've been very grateful. I'm very grateful to you. Just a short snapshot about Jitu. Over the last 3 decades, Embassy, together with its promoters, has developed over 62 million square feet of commercial, residential, industrial and warehousing, retail and hospitality spaces in Indian cities. Well, Jitu joined the property development business at the age of 19. And since 1993, when he came at the helm of affairs of the company, has seen his vision for a world-class property development organization, both in terms of size and excellence, transform into reality. Well, in April 2019, Embassy made history by sponsoring India's first REIT, and I've been the most excited about it, with the largest area in Asia Pacific as well. The group has partnered with global investors, including Blackstone and Warburg Pincus at the group and project levels. I have to note here that with several contributions to social causes, Jitu has made a difference in the lives of many. He's committed to improving the standards of education and employment in the country and has successfully undertaken and implemented multiple initiatives in this area. We look forward to hearing your journey from your own mouth, Jitu, and welcome on board.
Thank you. Thank you for having me over.
Over to you, Anuj. Yeah, please
Anuj.
go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just saying is thanks to Neetu to have you on board. I probably speak 2 or 3 times a week to Jitu, but I haven't had those many opportunities to formally interview him, Neetu. So thank you very much. We probably speak a lot of other things, and I'm going to ask all the tough questions today to Jitu, which is going to be really in 2 parts, Jitu. One is a little sort of official, and the last 5 minutes I'm going to ask a little personal question. But it is true the way Neetu put your profile. I mean, I've seen the philanthropic stuff that you do, and hats off to you, Neetu. Not many people know what you do behind the scene. Also a very prolific deal maker. Hotelier, has interest in several segments, right from office, which people know you as India's first REIT, to residential. You've just bought over Indiabulls Real Estate, to a large player on the industrial side, to having the co-working, which is the WeWorks in India, to now co-live, the Olive brand that you have, and clearly one of the best schools of India that is run by your organization. So, it's absolutely a delight to interview you. My first question is, Jitu, how's the journey been with the REIT? I mean, it's been a fantastic launch beginning of last year that we had. You've now had nearly 18 odd months of the REIT. How would you say the journey has been?
I think the journey has been quite educative. I don't know how many people are aware. Actually, this started way back in 2007, actually, originally. This REIT being a baby of Mr. Parekh from chairman of HDFC, who first said that, a real estate company needs to, rather than go public, do a REIT and create a fund to grow their businesses. So we attempted this in 2007 along with Mapletree as our partners to listed in the Singapore Stock Exchange, as there were no REIT laws in India. Then, the 2008 crisis came, so we pulled back. And once again, when the REIT law started in India, we thought it was best to do it in India and not do it in the Singapore Stock Exchange. Our partners, just prior to that, Blackstone had in 2011, 2012 started investing with us in our parks. And also some of our partners who were along with us in the parks were, we tuned everybody's mind that if we wanted to grow as a company and we wanted to also create value, the best thing was to do a REIT. And then when the BJP government came in and they took the REIT regulations to such a fast pace mode, I think we thought we would just grab in and go in there. And of course, I know that a lot of my colleagues, everybody was hesitating to be the first one to do it. And maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just keeping up my reputation of a risk taker. And I said, let me be the first one. Though I don't believe this, I'm a risk taker. Actually, I think I'm a very conservative guy in real estate. I have a math for everything. And we decided to go in. Of course, there were a lot of, issues, tax issues needed to be sorted out. And I have to give a lot of credit to my friend Neil Reja for actually doing most of the hard work, to pave the way for us to do the REIT. And I'm glad that he's also been successful in doing his REIT, and it was a big success in these times. So it feels nice that the quality of the REIT so far in India, being two of us, is good quality of office space in the business. So this will really help the whole business to grow. I think what from the government side, we need is the government needs to sell the REIT. Like, we're also still selling what the REIT exactly is to every investor. So I don't know whether we've done a really good job. I think we haven't done a good job by explaining to everybody what the REIT is, especially to the individuals and shareholders. But I think slowly it's happening more and more as, we're declaring dividend, we're staying on track. So I think people are getting more confidence in the product of the REIT. And I think that in the long run, it will do well and help other colleagues of ours also who are going to do their REITs. But from the government side also, it needs a lot of selling. It needs departments to be synchronized to understand the REIT, because each department wants to look at their own niche in the REIT. So I think it's come. I think it's getting together. So I'm glad that we are the first one, to be there and successful.
Jitu, you say absolutely the right thing. When the IPO opened up for real estate, the first few were decent IPOs on real estate, and suddenly it went down on the quality curve. And look at it, from 2008 to 2020, we haven't really had any real estate IPO. And the reason for that was that some of the credible IPOs which did well initially were followed by a herd mentality, and we had very, very different kind of quality of developers who went into the IPO, and that market got shut. This time you're absolutely right that you've done exceptionally well. So as Raheja, hopefully Brookfield will be the third one. So it's a great credible story that comes out.
That's true. I mean, I think yes. So all of the good quality developers are coming in. And I think actually for small developers also, they should, instead of trying to do their own REIT and making a mess of it, should actually merge into these REITs to encash value and, probably negotiate to be on the board of different REITs, make 4 or 5 big REITs in India and put in all their, assets into this and grow. I mean, I think it's gone on the days where, we Indians have this thing that I have to own everything. I have to 100%. So that needs to change.
And Jitu, you're adding Embassy Tech Village into the REIT. That's nearly $1.3 billion.
Yeah, so it was the plan. It was a ROFR asset, but all I want to send a message is that whether ROFR or no ROFR, Embassy is committed to whatever it develops in the commercial segment is to put it in the REIT to make the REIT stronger and make the shareholders, grow their investment as far as the REIT is concerned, because the shareholder of the REIT is a very different kind of investor, and he needs assured income, he needs steady growth. And that's what we are committed to. So, we're actually, you will hear soon, shortly, we're putting some more assets in it. And the Tech Village was a big one, along with our JP Morgan campus. So all in one, it's a huge this thing.
Yeah. And so the REIT becomes bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, so that's, it's in our interest also. And as you know that we aren't a very large shareholder of the REIT. We have 15% shareholding, but, it's we're a different company with different school of thought that it doesn't necessarily that we have to be majority shareholders on large share to own something, but as long as we control the quality of stuff which goes into the REIT and it goes at the correct values, it's important for us.
Yeah, you just changing gears. What was the thought of buying Indiabulls real estate portfolio?
So, you mentioned earlier that real estate companies, when they went IPO, there's a lot of bad quality stuff came in and the market collapsed. We feel now there's a time where it's the market to have an IPO or listed entity in real estate is maturing, and a company of our size and strength, we need to institutionalize ourselves over there, and especially since we have the REIT already, it makes this development platform more powerful. It allows us to get a lot of funds sovereign funds to invest money with us and grow their business or grow their investment in India. It also helps us to raise capital cheaper, much more long term, and grow. And when we're not a listed entity, where everything we're looking at it very carefully, and we're always worried of not paying down debt, not taking too much debt, but with a strong balance sheet, we'll be able to grow at a much faster pace, much stabler pace, and build a large real estate company in the country. So Indiabulls was perfectly. I think that in life I always say it's all about timing. It was perfect timing. Samir wanted to disinvest from the real estate business. We were looking at a listed entity, and our partners Blackstone also was very keen that they would also want to join us and strengthen us by being in this. And we're open to all kinds of all investors. So it's not that necessary. It's even Blackstone is not very particular that Embassy only does business with them. So they're okay, happy with the risk is shared with different people. I've seen that they're also open-minded in large projects to have other institutions as investors along with them. And I think
Okay.
that's the way this country is to grow. Where people pull in, and I think it will change a
Yeah.
lot what is happening in Embassy, and that's the platform will be. So whatever Embassy does will be from this platform, irrespective of whatever shareholding we have in the listed entity. But slowly, we'll collapse everything into it, and all the noise will be from the listed entity. And it makes our REIT stronger. That it helps us to give raw material to our REIT. So it's win-win for both shareholders, and they are both different kind of shareholders.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Jitu, it is true what you're saying is that on the residential front, we are starting to see the sales go up. Certainly as the pandemic is easing out, this festival has been very good. And then one of the troubles in the residential has been that there has been very little equity, and it's largely been on debt. So this platform really helps in ensuring that you're able to absorb equity, which is where residential today needs.
Correct, Anuj, bang on, and that's where a lot of people told us that why do you want to buy Indiabulls? You can list yourself, but Indiabulls comes to us debt free. It comes with a large amount of finished assets, and our whole idea is to create all this into equity, and and then do residential. As you know, that Embassy has been a little shy of doing residential for the last few years, and mainly the reason being is that because it requires a lot of equity, and it takes a little time. So I think that the future is anyway in our country ultimately is going to be residential, and and the players who have larger equity in residential will come out stronger. And since you're marketing so much of residential today, the buyer also wants to pay when the product is finished. Bankers want to lend money when there is a financial closure. So to put everybody together, developer needs to put in more equity in residential, and that's our whole plan. To merge the Embassy residential and Indiabulls residential, which is something like 11,000 crores of finished residential apartments, and sell these and deploy this money back in the residential and commercial sector both.
One of the things, Jitu, that you spearheaded was the warehousing and industrial business. And we're seeing a fair amount of growth and momentum in that segment. What are your thoughts around that?
So, again, like everybody said, we get into different verticals, but it's like a risk. But we actually got into warehousing because we thought that it needed the skill sets which we have, is mainly buying land, getting approvals, and our ability to execute. These are the strengths of Embassy, and that's how the warehousing became a natural extension. And we partnered with Warburg, which also is a reputable fund, and to grow that business. But we see that in warehousing, requires more investors with sovereign funds with cheaper money, because the returns are low and it needs to grow and scale. So that's how we've been hearing a little bit of thing that we're trying to sell our listed platform. And, so mostly we're trying to actually not really sell it, but try and de-risk on the financials and then grow it and do things what we are good at,
Yes.
So that's the whole idea.
And Jitu, you also have in the alternate space co-living and co-working. I mean, co-working is very large, and your elder son Karan runs it very effectively. The WeWork brand in India, and he's done an incredible job. What is your thought on the co-working, and then separately on the co-living, which your younger son has now gone into, Aditya, the brand called Olive?
So on the co-working space, like you said, yeah, Karan has done an extremely phenomenal job in building. It started with a great boom, bang, and Adam Newman was growing the company. Everything was good, but I think the co-working actually went down more because of the brand of Adam Newman than actually the business. So it's. And then bankers started getting worried that it is a loss-making business, but actually it's a business. It's a math. I mean, co-working is just pure math basis. It's converting square footage to take from a traditional builder like me, and then breaking it down to better utilization and re-renting it again. So yeah, it took a little bit of. I mean, it's a place where we've as embassy we've put a lot of equity money. We've nearly invested $200 million, and
Oh, wow.
which is not so much to liking of somebody like me who's still old school, And but on the other benefit is that it made my boy from a boy to a man in 3 years. Took his father 35 years, so that way I think Karan is quite held it back, and it's coming back to profitability. I mean, it's doing well. I don't know how much you know that WeWork globally is doing very well. And in this pandemic, they invested about 100 million with WeWork. So it's just coming back. And I think that in the future, it's a business. I used to say that, one day my son will be my largest tenant, So I think it's coming back on that track sooner or later. On Aditya's, Aditya's runs basically an embassy now. Because Karan was focused on WeWork, and then when the trouble with WeWork started, we just wanted Karan to focus and stabilize the business, then putting his attention anywhere else now. Now he's also looking at Indiabulls merger. But on the warehousing, yeah, so warehousing, embassy, and the co-living is being handled by Aditya. And again, co-working living also is again a small cutoff for this PG accommodation. Basically trying to organize everything in India, which is disorganized, and there's an opportunity there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So of course, but then once bitten with the WeWork, we trying to put as less equity as possible and partner with stronger institutional investors and come up with Aditya's come up with some smart structures where we really don't need to invest so much money, and it's a win-win for the landlord, it's a win for the occupier. So and we feel that all these businesses are extension to our traditional business of office space. If you notice, like every place where we've invested is only connected to the business we know. And so
Interesting.
so co-working, co-living. So a lot of our tenants now are saying that, okay, if you take 1 million square feet from me, I can give you 200 rooms close by, for the place. So, and as you know that we have our property management business also. So I think that slowly we're trying to change our business into saying that I will charge you so much, where I will clean your office, I'll give you the space, I'll give accommodation for people to stay in close by, and if you need flexible space to grow your business, we give you WeWork close by. So it will attract companies to come to us. So that's how this listed platform and the REIT helps us tremendously.
Yeah.
So they're all connected. Even the hotel business. Actually, it's not that we're want to be a hotel business, because we're a Sindhi family. So Sindhis don't make hotels because hotels don't make money individually standalone. But because the hotels are in our business parks and they have captive audience, so that's how the hotel business became part of our one of our verticals, because there is a captive audience, and there's a X amount of occupancy guaranteed because of X amount of square footage built. So we have some sort of a math based on that, and it enhances our rent with the hotel being in our parks, actually.
No, that's very true. That is very true. And then Jitu, you rightly say it's a comprehensive package. And this is what an occupier is today looking at as solutioning, rather than just saying, here's real estate on lease.
And every city in India you go, there's a traffic issue. But for my occupier, if the hotel is in the same place as the park, it's more convenient for his visitors. So we have some sort of a math that so many million square feet give you so many rooms,
Correct. Yeah. So Jitu, two more questions on the work side, and then I want to sort of use 5-6 minutes on the personal side. As you rightly said, is a lot of the people, and I used to view you earlier as an amazing risk taker. Having known you in the last few years more closely, I know you're a very calculated risk taker. From outside, it appears the appetite that you have for risk taking is huge. How would you describe yourself on this particular statement, which the larger industry says that Jitu is an amazing risk taker?
So in a way, I like it when some people say about it, because it shows me a different light. But because I know what I am myself, so it really doesn't bother me what they think they do. But it sometimes worries me, because my bankers rate my borrowing costs risk taker. So normally each banker I have to explain that what is my maths behind and what is the whole logic behind what I'm doing. And I think we're quite successful in doing that. So like I said, and you've been working with us, there is a math behind everything, and we get into everything. We're looking at the downside of it completely. Even if you look at our original franchisee cost of WeWork, there was a very big downside. That worst case, I would get my money back from WeWork with 12% interest. So it was that was the downside. But of course, things changed with Adam Newman going, and it in a way benefited us also, because our franchisee fee came down to just 4% now. So it's actually improved the business. So
which is great.
And we do only what we know. So you don't hear that embassy is putting up a plastic factory, or it's doing some other things which is nothing to do with our business. Even our power business is solar power, which supplies to our parks. Period. It's just to that. I'm not building 10,000 megawatts or 5,000 megawatts solar parks to supply to other people at some ridiculous price of 2 rupees 65 paisa, 3 rupees 25 paisa. No, I'm supplying to my parks and it should income.
And Jitu, would you at any stage get into retail?
No, never. I mean, I don't build shopping malls, as you can see from my portfolio, because I think shopping malls is another science. It's easy to buy land, build, have a location, because I'm in the real estate business. But in my opinion, the managing a shopping mall is the biggest thing. And frankly, all my life so far, I haven't found a partner who I think could be able to manage a mall well to partner with. If I had found somebody like that, maybe I would have gone into shopping malls. But we stayed out of retail completely.
Yeah. My last question on the work side is, Jitu, what will be the 2 or 3 learnings that you've had over the course of the sort of 30 odd years, 1993 to 2020, that you would say that you've had?
And this is strange that you ask me this question, because I keep repeating, I have Karan and Aditya working with me, and there are young generation. Sometimes they're anxious. Sometimes, we have investors, bankers, where we have to be against the wall. And sometimes it feels that, you build such a big brand name, you've done so much of it, but why do I have to suck up to this guy? Why do I have to listen to this person? I'm performing, I'm doing this. Every time people have written me off, but I've performed and come back and did everything like we said we would do. So in my learning is that if you want to be successful and want to grow your business, this is going to be part of your life. Every time you will feel shortchanged, that some investor has made more money than you, some banker has charged you more interest. And this is one learning which I think that every youngster, if is able to fathom this and keep his ego aside and just on, if he wants to grow the business, I think you need to continue, however successful you become. I think this is the biggest thing, and of course, I think that just being, humble and focusing and what you want to do rather than what other people are doing, it helps. That's why I'm not, need to complain. That's why I'm not such a big fan of coming to these conferences and all that, because sometimes, I don't want to tell the truth and I don't want to lie. So, it's better stay away,
And then Jitu, that is true. Every time that I've had discussion with you, you're extremely candid. extremely transparent, and extremely articulate. And that takes me to the part B, and we've got only 5 minutes left of my discussions. Jitu, you're so candid, and yet you're working, with two extremely capable youngsters, both happen to be your sons. How do you manage this?
Actually, I'm really enjoying it.
Dad.
I'm really having a good time working with them because I think I use this approach of making them shadow work with me to understand how my brain thinks, how I what kind of philosophy embassy has, and how to deal with people, because in India it's a lot about relationship, it's half business, half friendship. Sometimes you just do things some banks have been good to you, so you're a little soft on those banks. Some investors have trusted you, and then you didn't make sure that they make they get a little better returns, and not to go by, because the kids study in America and in UK, and they become very things, but cut and dry, black and white. So I need to bring in that little bit of Indian touch in them. And they're hardworking, and I don't know. I just actually I have a really good relation with all my 4 kids. I have 1 daughter and 3 boys. I've good relation with all of them, and I think it's this new generation. You have to accept that, at least I've accepted that the new generation is far more intelligent than I am.
And I think that's where your winning strategy works very well. But you're a dad at home and you're a boss in office. How does that transition?
But I haven't been like this with my colleagues. If we speak to anybody at embassy, we believed in empowering people. So anybody comes and can talk to me about things, ask me something, why I'm doing this, and we're doing something wrong. And it's happened to me a couple of times. I mean, there are people who have walked into my cabin or say, sir, I want 5 minutes, and actually told me things which I was doing wrong. And let me be honest that if they've come 5 times, some 5 incidents, 4 times they've been right, and 1 time I've been right. So I think it's just like probably my nature to get along with young people. I mean, and somehow I get along with all young people. Among all my friends, I'm known as Jitu Papa to everybody. So all the young generation gets along with me quite well, and I think Karana, Natali, Neil, they're all hardworking, so it'll happen.
Yeah. My final 2 questions, Jitu. I've dealt with your next generation, and I've never asked you this question. I'm going to ask you today. How do you keep them humble? I mean, they are extremely humble, Jitu, and they're no reflection of yours. So I don't know how you manage to keep them so grounded and so humble whilst they live in an environment, where there is so much of wealth around them. Yet the respect that they give, the way that they deal with the junior most people, not only within your organization, but outside your organization. We just want to understand, what is it that you have inculcated the DNA in them? And it's the reason I ask is, we deal with other generations of developers as well. And there is a distinction between, between the generation that you have and some of the others.
Anyway, actually, it makes me really proud to whatever you said so far. Yeah, but it's true that, but honestly, I mean, a lot of credit goes to their mother also, that, she's brought them up well. And it's just, I think it's our way of life at home, because, when we were a small company, we grew big, nothing has changed, now. I mean, we live in a huge home now since last 7 years, but, our lifestyle, our way of life has not remained the same, and I think, a lot of times 50% of the kids grow, they look at their parents, how they live and how they grow and how they talk. If I was brash with my staff and I was throwing weight around, if I was keen to drive a Ferrari and do all sorts of flashy things, and then they would want to do these things. So it's still, I mean, yeah, actually, I really have a problem in making them spend money, they're just focused and they're so contented. But honestly, that's been in the family, with everybody. I've never said no to anything. You can, when you meet them next week, I've never said no for anything.
Wow.
But they see the wealth. They would sit even when they were in college. When they would come back, every 3 months we run through our balance sheet, and we sat to the meeting, so they're aware how much wealth they have. They're aware of everything, but they're just, I don't know.
Yeah, fantastic. And Jitu, where do we see Jitu in 20 years' time from today?
I think, 54 in 20 years, 74 same place, still looking for good deals, still, the whole thrill of life is about that. And I think, COVID has done well. I'm actually really worried when this COVID gets over and it go back to normal working. How is it going to be? Because, it's been, Bangalore weather's been good. It's great. Right now, though, I'm in Dubai, but it's nice. I mean, I think I'll be the same, but I've given the reins to them, and my whole idea is that, in what I say in real estate, you need to see the danger around the bend, is what I'm trying to teach them financially. And then I'm pretty much, they're good to run the company, and I will just guide them, and look at things. Basically, just watch they don't do something, get into something stupid and do some mega projects which can bring the company down at one time or take it up, So, like, I always say, embassy will never build the biggest mall, the tallest building, and the largest project, We'll just make money.
And I think that is what the investors here would want to listen to. It has been absolutely a pleasure, speaking with you. I love the statement that you made, is that I'm teaching them how in real estate to avoid the risk around the bend. A brilliant statement that you made in the passing. Fantastic. Thank you very much, Neetu, for giving me the opportunity to interact with Jitu.
Can I ask one question, please? A very quick one. Jitu, if you had to select between horses and real estate, what would be your selection?
It'd be real estate, because real estate brings the horses,
Okay. And I just hope there was no maths behind coming to this conference, and sorry about pestering you for that, but thank you so much. Really appreciate your coming and agreeing to be a part of this summit. I would just quickly want to invite Mr. Ashok Mohanani-ji, who's the president for NAREDCO West and the founder for Ekta Group. He wanted to thank you as well. Ashok.
Hello, Jitu. Hello,
Hi.
Anuj. It's, really great pleasure having both of you here. Both stalwarts in the industry. And Jitu, I must say, I must compliment you that you've been a trendsetter, okay, getting REITs into India. Such an asset class, which, small investors, without owning real estate can be part of the real estate. And your success mantra, I cannot forget, okay? Acceptance, no ego, being focused. I think great inspiration for the next gen. Thank you, Jitu. Looking forward to see you someday personally. Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
He's coming to the next edition as well, the 6th edition.
Yeah, Jitu, that you have to commit. For Neetu will not leave you, okay? Neetu and Jitu, I'm not going to leave you.
Thank you so much, Jitu. Thanks a lot.
Guys. See you guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Jitu. Thanks, Neetu. Bye.